set up here for after the show. Drew, I hear you have a plane, so anytime you have to go, just go. We're going to start after the show, which often becomes another show. Do you know that after the show we did with you became a show?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
I was on Broadway.
Okay, oh, that's right. Yeah. You were a little busy.
Yeah, a little busy. I was.
Yeah.
Is there a water?
Yeah, I want to get a copy, though.
Yeah. You should. Okay, after the show, everybody, have a seat. Thank you. Big-time stars with us on After the Show today. Drew Barrymore, Cameron Diaz, Christina Aguilera, and P. Diddy. They're all on a mission to get the millions of people who don't vote to the polls on November 2nd. Our audience is full of people who were not registered before today. Did you all finish signing up? Oh, well, please, let's get that done. Or just hadn't voted before. So, Cynthia, did I move you at least this far to the other side?
You've given me a lot of thought.
A lot
to think about.
A lot to think about.
Yes.
So will you think about it?
I would definitely think about
You're
it.
not telling me you're going to register yet?
I'm not telling you that.
Okay.
Sure.
Why wouldn't you vote?
As I was saying to Oprah earlier, I don't like the scandal involved. When the two politicians pull up dirt on each other, their families, their children, that's unnecessary to me. I don't want to be a part of that because that's showing me a side of you that I don't want to represent me as an American citizen. And so that's why I don't. That's another reason that I do not vote.
Would you?
And you all are all applauding because you feel the same way? That's why you're applauding?
I get it. I get it. I get negative campaigning. I'm a very positive person, and it turns me off completely. It's just not my thing. I don't enjoy it. But do you ever want to see a woman president, an African-American president, a president who...
Yes. Oprah for one.
Yeah, believe me.
I will not be running.
Well, if you did, I know you'd win, and that's a good thing.
It's too much,
but if you want someone positive in politics, if you want to change the face of politics, it is up to you, and your vote will make a difference, and you can elect someone. And it's not just about our president, you know? I mean, voting starts at student body presidents and goes into our city councils and, you know, everything in between. I mean, there's a very large world out there for voting. It isn't just about the president, but because they're our leader that affects our country the greatest and our representation to the rest of the world, that's huge. But
what Cameron said earlier was so important. People don't I don't think we're so insulated. You don't realize what it's like to be alone in the world. Alone in the world, and what the rest of the countries now think of us. Yeah.
I think it's also important that it's almost like if you know you have a choice between it raining or it being a hurricane, you may not like the rain or a hurricane, but you still need to pick one of the two. You know, you still have to at least make a decision, and for yourself. A lot of people say, you know, if not for yourself, for somebody else, but really, most importantly, for yourself. Because if you're not involved in the process, then you can't even do nothing about the negative campaigning that they're doing. And also just me as a African American, it's like we've come so way and we've dealt with a lot worse. And we have to stand up for our rights, and we can never stop fighting.
But I love the rapper you were interviewing on your tape earlier who just said, oh, if you don't, it's like saying, just do with me what you want.
Yes, Andre 3000 said that. Yeah.
That's right. That's who that was. Yeah. That's
so can you please think about it? Please vote.
I will give it much thought.
She will give
You don't think we could get you to really register?
I'm sorry?
There's no way we could get you to register?
Today?
Today. I mean, what's your sign? Is it a sign thing? Are you stubborn?
Right, yeah.
Am I stubborn?
Is it a
No, I believe in a sign.
Are you like a stubborn sign or something? Are you just being stubborn?
Leo.
Yeah, you a Leo? Okay. All right.
We are leaders,
I think I could work on this situation. Is there anything we could do to, you know, I mean, what do you have to lose?
I have nothing to lose.
You don't have nothing to lose. Why don't you register, please? You have so much power right now.
Thought.
Please, I need a yes. I'm relentless.
Oh, okay.
I'm relentless.
Russell Simmons said to me in my documentary, he said that a lot of people don't realize that their vote is as important as a Bill Gates vote. That sometimes we feel like, oh, our one vote won't make a difference, but in the voting booth, we are all equal, and we all have the same amount of power. And that in itself is tremendous, and therefore you know when you go in there, you are a very powerful person, and that's empowering too.
What do you want to say, Norman Lear, about all of this?
I want to say that I couldn't be prouder of Declare Yourself, because the three ladies who have been spoken earlier, who have been just brilliant on the subject, all of you.
Yeah.
Couldn't.
P was brilliant too.
I'm gonna get to him.
Okay.
But the three ladies, we Declare Yourself,
Yeah.
had some very direct involvement in introducing them to this subject.
Yeah.
Another guest you have here is the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
Which we gave to P. Diddy for his big event that announced.
The original Declaration of Independence?
Yeah, the Declaration of Independence is here.
Mm-hmm.
And there it is on the screen. But that's.
Do you now own it? Did I hear that you bought it?
I own it, but America owns it.
Yeah.
It was purchased to travel, to be everywhere among the people.
What would that run you? I really
The
know.
public figure was $8 million.
I was going to say, okay.
But it's been traveling for a great deal more money that we've raised all over the country. It's been to 50 cities. That copy that you saw, if I could take another minute, was printed the night of July 4th, 1776. It is your country's birth certificate. The one that's signed in Washington began to be signed 6 weeks later. This is one of 25 that exist in the world, and if we have anything to do and are successful, it will travel forever. It will never sit on a wall anyplace.
It's fantastic. Who has to leave? Thank you, Drew.
I just want to say one thing, too. This election is so incredibly vital, but what our history has given us and what our future will be will depend on us. And there's a timelessness aspect here, and I'm just so honored and in awe of what everybody's doing, and it's so inspiring, and I am a different person after this 1 year, and I'm going to go into the voting booth a very different human being, and it's thanks to all of the people who are teaching me, and my heart and mind is so open, and I thank you so much for having me on your show. It is the biggest privilege for me.
Oh, Drew,
truly.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
October 1st, Drew's documentary.
I have a...
Yeah.
I think it is so relative. On this website, declareyourself.com, which these young women helped so much to drive traffic to, we have now downloaded 600,000 registration forms across 50 states.
That can make a difference. Thank you. Yeah. Good luck with the documentary.
Bye.
Okay, great. Okay, we didn't get Cynthia yet, but that's okay. We're going to lay off Cynthia. But did anybody else move to feel like you're now going to register and you definitely are going to vote? You definitely are? Yes. Why? Why? Yes.
I never really thought that my vote would make a difference, but now that, I don't know if it's Cameron Drew that talked about that my vote, that we're alone.
Yeah.
You know, that's what really kind of hit me.
It's crazy. I
yeah,
mean,
that's, I didn't know why you're crying, but once you said why, now that does scare me.
It does. I mean, I'm passionate about, you know, the things that I'm passionate about, I'm really passionate about. And I'm very protective about the things that I love and people that I love. And when I travel outside this country, and I've traveled since I was 16 by myself. I lived in Japan when I was 16 all by myself. And I've depended on the fact that I was American to get me places, you know, that opened doors for me at one time. That allowed me.
That we were alone. I had no idea.
Now you go outside of it, and it's just like you're lucky. I mean, if I wasn't, you know, an actor that people knew because of, you know, liked me already, I wouldn't make very many friends outside of America.
Yeah.
You know,
True.
so it's a really interesting place to be. You feel really alone, and you know, I try to find humor in everything, and I'm finding it really hard to find humor in this. Mm-hmm. You know, it's really hard for me.
You changed. You said you changed? Yeah? Hustle.
Well, I agree with what she said, that now we're alone, you know, like we're alone from the other countries. They've, you know, backed off. They haven't united with America during the war and everything. And it made me really think what you said about us being alone.
Costa Rica even took their name off of our list. So when Costa Rica, who doesn't even, last time Costa Rica was in a world war.
Yeah. Even Cynthia says you travel around the world and you see that people feel this way about...
They do. They feel like, what is going on with America? And I was saying to you that I had just come back from the Caribbean, and friends of mine there, because they are so politically involved, that they were saying, what is going on with your country? America is the laughing joke of the world now. You know, and I couldn't say anything because I don't vote.
Carol? Yeah, you can't say anything. You just have to go,
Friday on Oxygen.
They were more of a traditional family.
Everyone described it as Leave It to Beaver.
But looks can be deceiving.
People were shocked. They couldn't imagine that such a pretty young thing stabbing her husband 193 times.
She was clearly out of her mind.
It's an all-new Snapped, Friday night.
Here's what you'll see next on Oprah after the show.
Can deliver your own baby.
You can deliver like that.
If this baby wants out, that baby wants out.
So all you gotta do is just stand up there and let it fall out, right? Come on! No, really.
Coming up next on Oxygen.
I love Steinmart's houseware.
They have everything in the home department.
From floor to ceiling.
You never know what you're going to find.
I actually bought the best rug at Steinmart. It's my favorite rug. I talk about this rug all the time. Big lamps, tall lamps, fat lamps.
If there's anything you want for your house, you'll find it there.
You can buy a whole vignette for your bedroom, living room, the family room. You can just find it all there at Steinmart.
And the prices are phenomenal. The only problem is what to pick.
Steinmart, once you go, you get it.
You can just drop in and get one thing, although I haven't accomplished that yet.
Let's get a pepperoni.
Mushroom. We got mushrooms.
I want green peppers.
You're so hard-headed.
Don't make me come over there.
Go put a sock on George.
Just get the Pizza Hut 4-for-all pizza. Then everybody gets what they want.
Cool.
The amazing 4-for-all pizza from Pizza Hut. 4 different pizzas for only $11.99. And for just $1 more, get breadsticks, Pepsi, or cinnamon sticks.
How can we ever thank you?
Well, this is a good start. Gather round the good stuff.
Yeah, what do you say now, Carol? You weren't registered?
I've never registered. I'm 62 years old. And personally, I've always felt that we really haven't had a say. We don't have a say.
You're 60.
Just like the last election, the popular vote wasn't for the person that actually became the president. So my thought is, since we have the Electoral College, what does it mean for us to vote?
But you can't change that if you're unhappy with that. You know, I mean, then you can't change that if you don't vote. And that's the beginning of it. I mean, I think, P. Diddy, you said it's not going to happen overnight. We're not going to change all this overnight because this wasn't built overnight.
But she's gone 62 years. Gracious. That's a lot of elections.
Yeah,
a lot. Jeez.
And in order for us, as you said, to change...
So then you grew up and you didn't vote?
Correct.
As her daughter?
Yeah.
So why would you?
Right.
Yeah, right.
In order for us to change even the Electoral College, if we don't agree with it, you have to vote in order to make sure that even if a learning lesson, I try to tell people that it was, the election was 537 votes. If you want to make sure that you get the right president in, you better make sure it's a landslide election. That's why everybody needs to make sure they get out and vote.
But we also do, like, we're a consumer nation. We pride ourselves on how much we can consume. Food, clothing, entertainment, everything that we can go and buy anything that we want if we can afford to. And it's a hobby of ours. I mean, most people, what are you doing this weekend? I'm going shopping. You know, that's how we pass our time. Think of voting as purchasing a president. Think of it that, like, half hour you're going to go out and shop for a president. You know, if you spend that time changing, you know, your habits for 2 seconds, go out and buy yourself a president by casting a vote, and that gets you one, step closer to what it is that you want to have in your world, period. Like what you want your world to look like. You know, we're so involved in other people's lives. We watch Oprah's show to see how we can change our lives, but oftentimes to take a look into somebody else's lives. We watch,
thank God I don't have that.
I don't have that going on. We buy magazines because we want to see who's getting married or who's breaking up or who's having a baby. Which, if you're disgusted by lies, then you should stop buying those magazines. Okay, so if you're so disgusted with the politics, you know what I mean? Like if you're sick and tired of politicians lying to you, but you can change that with a vote, you have to like start looking at what you do consume. You have to start looking at what you do buy into, what you do believe, and start changing your habits and changing the way that you participate in life. And one day out of your year, out of every 4 years where you get to go, and by the way, absentee voting ballots are the best. I've signed up for the rest of my life, I get an absentee ballot. It comes to my house before, a couple weeks before. I fill it out. I don't fill it out right when I get it because I'm a procrastinator and I can't get it in on time. So it gives me a little bit of time to like go, okay, and do it and mail it in, or you drop it off at your local voting stand. So that's a really easy way to like buy yourself some time so that you don't have to just be there on that day. You can take care of it beforehand if you want to be efficient.
Yeah, it is a responsibility, but I think that so many people don't see it that way. But maybe that'll change. Anybody else change today? Change. Yes, ma'am, you did?
I didn't think, like a lot of people are saying, I didn't think that my vote mattered. As a woman, just a lot of the politicians...
537. Were you all shocked to hear 537? 537 votes
and
decided the last election.
As a woman, politicians aren't addressing our needs. There's nothing that they're saying that I feel is addressing my needs right now. So I just don't feel like,
Because you don't vote. You know who's voting? The people who Medicare, Medicare, Social Securities. How many times
that's why
have
that's
we heard
always
this
an issue.
All the time. We're like, that's like, what do we know about that? We're not gonna, I'm not retiring anytime soon. I don't need Medicare. But if single women were another group that just, stayed at home and didn't vote. You're married. Well, 52% of married women voted, I heard.
I guess what changed my mind is the fact that even though you should vote for yourself, I also want to vote for my children because I want them to know the importance of voting and, the predecessors, what people had to go through in order for us to get this far, because we are taught in school what happened to people, what people have to go through to vote. But as you get older, you kind of, it's okay, I'll vote next election, I'll vote in the next 4 years. We procrastinate, but we procrastinate in years. We think that we don't have to do it now. Will there always be another chance for us to do it again?
Well, in my magazine, I think this month, I did every month I do a What I Know For Sure. And this month's about sex, and I didn't know nothing for sure about sex, so I was like sitting down there, what do I know? Okay, so I wrote about voting. And,
don't be modest.
No, yeah. But no, I thought, whatever I know is not going to be a page. I could do a paragraph. Anyway, and I tell the story about what I think every time I vote. And years ago, in my 20s, I had the good fortune of hearing a preacher named Otis Moss from Cleveland. You ever seen him? Reverend Otis Moss, fabulous preacher. And since that time, he's become a good friend of mine. And he told a story that stays with me to this day. He was at the prayer breakfast for the Black Caucus. His father was a poor sharecropper, raising 5 or 7 children. And his father had never had the right to vote, and he remembered the day that his father awakened, dressed himself in his best suit, and walked 6 miles to the poll because they did not have any transportation. He walked 6 miles to the poll. He gets to the poll and is told, "You're at the wrong poll, boy." He turned around and went to where they told him to go. And he got there and walked another 5 to 6 miles. And they said, "Boy, you too late. The polls is closed." He turned around and walked home. And by the time he got home at the end of the day, he had walked 18 miles and was so disheartened because he was not allowed to vote that day, and told all of his friends and all of his family about not having this chance to vote and how he couldn't wait till the next time. He died before the next election. And now every time I vote, I cast my vote for Otis Moss Sr., who walked 18 miles in one day to have the chance to do it. That's why I vote. That's why I vote. True story.
Yeah. And that's why everybody in here
that hasn't changed their mind, they need to change their mind. For Otis Moore Sr., and for all the people that are like that, there's millions of people that have gone through that, and we take that for granted, you know? And he would have loved to live another day to be able to have their chance to vote.
Have the chance.
Come on, can you come on in? I know you're stubborn, come on in.